Racism. It's a word that makes people uncomfortable. It stirs up emotions, brings up memories, and often leads to heated debates. But we need to talk about it. We need to confront it head-on, even when it's difficult. Not just the blatant, in-your-face kind, but the sneaky kind that hides in plain sight. The kind that seeps into everyday interactions and decisions. It's in the everyday experiences of people of color, especially Black people. It's in the small, seemingly insignificant moments that add up over time. It's in the assumptions, the biases, the subtle ways society treats them differently. These microaggressions can be just as damaging as overt acts of racism. We don't always see it, especially if we're not on the receiving end. It's easy to overlook if it doesn't directly affect us. It's like a whisper campaign, chipping away at the dignity and equality that everyone deserves. These whispers can be found in workplaces, schools, and even social settings. This isn't about blaming or shaming. It's about recognizing the problem and taking steps to address it. It's about understanding the reality of racism today. It's about acknowledging that it exists and that it affects real people in real ways. We need to shed light on these hidden forms of racism. We need to bring them out of the shadows and into the open. By understanding them, we can start to dismantle them. We can begin to create a more just and equitable society for everyone. It's time to open our eyes, our ears, and our minds. It's time to listen, to learn, and to act. Imagine this. A Black man walks into a store. He's just there to shop like anyone else. But almost immediately he feels eyes on him. He's immediately followed by security. The guard's presence is a constant reminder that he's being watched, judged, and suspected. Or consider a Black woman who is told her natural hair is unprofessional. She's simply embracing her identity, yet she's criticized for it. These might seem like small things, but they're not. They cut deep, affecting self-esteem and mental health. They're called microaggressions, brief everyday exchanges that send subtle messages of disrespect and inferiority. These actions are often dismissed as minor or unintentional. It's being passed over for a promotion, despite qualifications. It's the feeling of being invisible no matter how hard you work. It's seeing fear in someone's eyes because of your skin color. That fear speaks volumes, louder than words ever could. These seemingly insignificant acts add up, creating a climate of hostility and exclusion. They shape the daily experiences of Black individuals, making them feel unwelcome and marginalized. To understand racism today, we need to look back. Centuries of slavery, segregation, and discrimination have left deep scars on society. These systems were built on the false idea that Black people were inferior. While laws have changed, the beliefs and attitudes that fueled them haven't completely disappeared. They linger in the shadows, influencing our thoughts and actions, often unconsciously. Section 4. Why racism endures, unpacking the reasons. Racism persists for many reasons. One is implicit bias, unconscious prejudices we all carry. We may not even be aware of them, but they affect how we perceive and treat others. Then there's systemic racism, the way institutions and policies disadvantage certain groups. Think unequal access to education, housing, and healthcare. These systems create and maintain racial disparities. Section 5. Building a brighter future. Our collective responsibility. We have a choice. Each of us has a role to play in shaping the world we want to live in. We can remain silent and complicit. Silence, after all, is a form of consent. Or we can choose to challenge racism in all its forms. This means standing up, speaking out, and taking action. It starts with awareness, educating ourselves about the history and ongoing reality of racism. Knowledge is power, and understanding the roots of racism is the first step towards dismantling it. We need to listen to and believe Black people's experiences. Their stories are powerful and provide insight into the systemic issues that persist. Let's challenge our own biases, speak up against injustice, and hold ourselves accountable for our actions and words. Together, we can work towards a future where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. A future where equality is not just an ideal, but a reality for all.